Look, thanks for coming out. I've got a few remarks that I'd like to make and won't be taking any questions at the end of it. A short time ago, I called the Labor candidate for Melbourne, Sarah Witty, to concede, to congratulate her and to wish her all the best as the next member for Melbourne. The Greens got the highest vote in Melbourne, but One Nation and Liberal preferences will get Labor over the line. To win in Melbourne, we needed to overcome Liberal, Labor and One Nation combined. And it's an Everest that we've climbed a few times now, but this time we fell just short. I want to thank Melbourne voters for regularly giving me the highest vote, including in this election, and to thank you for the last 15 years and the chance to do some amazing things together. Together, we made marriage equality law after getting the highest vote in the country in a plebiscite that no one should have had to have. We worked hard to get the highest vote in the voice referendum, sending a message of hope that big parts of Australia still want First Nations justice. Together, we got dental into Medicare for kids, and we got world-leading climate legislation. The price on pollution worked. It really worked. It's the only thing that's actually cut climate pollution in this country. In the middle of a climate crisis, we actually turned the corner. Fighting the climate crisis is the reason that I got into politics, and I want to thank everyone in Melbourne for helping us make a difference. This is an incredible, diverse, strong and proud community, and I've loved every minute of being your MP. I want to thank my party room colleagues. They are some of the brightest and most dedicated people that I've ever met. I have learned so much from them. Together we've achieved so much, and I am sure that they are going to achieve so much more. I want to thank them for their really strong support for me over the years, including the time that I've been leader. We've been able to have really robust discussions inside our party room and then reach decisions and go forward and put it into practice. And I think that has stood us in incredibly good stead. Every single one of them is a frontbencher. One of the things about being a smaller party in Parliament is that there's no room for dead wood. There's no backbench to send people to, and every single one of the MPs in the Federal Greens party room, like in our state parliaments around the parliament, are incredible performers, and I really want to acknowledge the amazing work of them and thank them in the Federal Party room for the privilege of twice making me their leader. I'm really proud of what I've achieved as leader of the Greens. We've achieved the highest vote in Greens history. I leave with the vote for the Greens higher than when I started, and our biggest ever representation in Parliament. This election, we may also end up with a record high vote in the Senate too, of around 13%, with some senators effectively getting a quota in their own right. I leave with the Greens now having the sole balance of power in the Senate. The government now can't blame any independent senator for not making reforms. The only thing stopping getting dental into Medicare, stopping new coal or gas mines, or rebalancing unfair housing tax breaks is the government itself. There's also now a big number of seats across the country where the Greens are second. We know about the Greens, we know about the Teals, and now there's the Purples. Mix red and blue together and you get purple. There's now a swathe of seats where Labor MPs owe their political life to Liberal preferences. And the Greens are there in those seats as the real opposition to the two-party system. If the government doesn't use its big majority to start actually cutting climate pollution and tackling Australia's massive inequality crisis, watch for a big swing at the next election and see those purple seats go green. Unfortunately, one of those purple-green seats is now Melbourne. What happened for us in Melbourne this time? I think three things. The boundaries of Melbourne changed, and a lot of people in very high Greens voting areas who'd been with us on this journey were moved out, and a lot of new people south of the river were moved in, people who we didn't have a huge amount of time with to make such a deep connection with. And this made the margin much, much tighter. Secondly, I think one of the common points seem to be accepted to be made about this election are how votes massively swung from Liberal to Labor during the 5 weeks, and how big an effect Trump had, and how no one had really predicted that at the start. That huge riptide from Liberal to Labor had an effect on us as well. People in Melbourne hate Peter Dutton, and with very good reason. They've seen his brand of toxic racism on display for many years. They've seen his time as immigration minister. They've seen him make comments about Melbourne. And like me, many of them wanted him as far away from power as possible. Despite us making it very, very clear that we shared their position, my initial take is that some votes leaked away from us to Labor, as people saw Labor as the best option to stop Dutton. I spent a fair bit of time on polling booths in Melbourne, had quite a few conversations where people told me that they usually vote Green, but this time they didn't because of Peter Dutton, which is obviously disappointing for us. And whilst not a massive shift in the vote, it did make a difference. And I think on this, I just want to say hats off to the Prime Minister and to Labor, the Labor campaign machine on this point, for making this such a central feature of the campaign. I think it's have to acknowledge that they did run a very good campaign. Labor did run a very good campaign, and they linked Trump to Peter Dutton and made it clear, as we sought to do as well, but Labor made it very clear that Dutton was about trying to bring the Trump style of politics to Australia. And I think it became one of the key defining features of the election, and that drove a big part of that 5-week riptide that we spoke about. I think in 2022, we did better at being the anti-Liberal vote, which is why you saw our vote go up and Labor's vote go slightly backwards in 2022. But I think, credit where it's due. I think Labor probably won that this time. And on the Prime Minister, can I say, look, I know he's got no great affection for the Greens, but he has been upfront to deal with in my time in Parliament, and the ability to be able to have those upfront discussions has been key to getting a lot of legislation through Parliament. Most of the conversations we've had have ended up staying confidential. Some found their way into the papers, but I think I know that the disagreement makes headlines often, but there were a lot of things achieved during the course of this Parliament that I think were on the basis of that included being on the basis of that relationship, and I congratulate him on his big win. But I think the third and the main thing that affected us here in Melbourne this time is preferences. Labor will win Melbourne on Liberal and One Nation preferences. As I said before, to win in Melbourne, we've had to regularly overcome the two major parties working together on preferences. It's not like traditional contests where Labor just has to beat Liberal. The Greens had to beat Labor and Liberal combined. It's climbing Everest, and we've managed to do it a few times, but this time we fell just short. More people in Melbourne voted Greens than anyone else. We got the highest vote, but Liberal and One Nation preferences will get Labor over the line. I don't know if any other minor party or independent MPs have done what we've done and win repeatedly without either major party sending them preferences, but we've done something pretty incredible over the years. This time, everyone was gunning for us, and we came very close, but we couldn't quite get there. As well as my colleagues and the voters of Melbourne, there's some other people that I'd like to thank as well. I really want to thank the African and Muslim communities in Melbourne, the very big and strong and diverse communities that we've got. Never have I felt more welcomed than when you've invited me into your homes or into your flats, or to share dinners with you. And I think the work that we've done over many, many years, standing together, dealing with the grief of the Christchurch massacre, but also working together to deal with housing, employment, so many of the issues that affect your daily lives, has given me enormous strength and enormous connection. And I feel so pleased that I'll be able to still see you around and disappointed, obviously, they can't be your representative as much anymore. And it's also, I want to also particularly thank everyone who had the courage to speak up against the invasion of Gaza, and spoke out for peace in Palestine. And I think as we see events continue to unfold in the most tragic way, this is a massive moment of humanity, and we have been really proud, and I've been really proud to continue to push for a just and lasting peace for the people of Palestine and Israel, which is going to be based on an end to the invasion and an end to the occupation. I want to thank everyone who's part of this amazing Greens organisation and movement. Our party officials, to every volunteer and supporter, you keep us all going. Your tireless work is just absolutely inspirational. Everyone who stood on a polling booth, everyone who attends a meeting that goes for much longer than they would like it to, you have, I can hear some knowing laughs behind me, you have just done amazing, amazing work, and I really want to thank you all, and you've helped build us into the third political force in this country, and I know and I hope I'm going to get a chance to thank you all in much greater detail over coming weeks and months. And I want to also, as part of that, to acknowledge the work of our incredible Victorian MPs here, who I've been really, really proud to work so closely with, as well as our local councillors too. I want to thank everyone who voted Greens across the country, including in record numbers. People will have their commentary to say about me, and that's okay. But to everyone who is feeling the climate crisis and watching it unfold in front of them, to everyone who's hurting from soaring rents and massive debts, to the young people who are wondering whether or not this country is going to give them the same kind of future that previous generations have had, I'm really sorry that I'm not going to be able to represent you anymore. I was so lucky to meet so many of you during the course of this campaign, and one of the things many of you said to me was that we gave you hope. I want you to know that the hope was not hope in me, but the hope in all of us, the hope in our movement. You are not alone. There are millions of you. There are millions of people who want a safe future and who think that in this wealthy country of ours, everyone should be able to get a roof over their head and not have to go into debt to get an education, to not have to skip meals to pay the rent or avoid going to the doctor or the dentist because they can't afford it. Our movement has a big future. It's a movement with a lot of heart, and we are going to keep growing. I want to say to you, to those millions of people who want in this country of ours to have a decent future, don't give the political establishment a moment of peace. It's going to be hard. And at the moment, as we've seen, including at this election, they are throwing everything at us. There will be setbacks, but in many respects, we have no choice. We have no choice. In the middle of one of the biggest inequality crises that the country's ever seen, and in the middle of a climate crisis that looks like it is getting worse, we have no choice but to fight. One of the slogans my sayings that has kept me going, that my amazing wife Claudia has amazingly embroidered for me and has hung on my wall for a while, is give it a red hot go. Give it a red hot go. That has guided me all the way through this building of this incredible movement of ours, to the point where we've had more people voting for us over the last few years than ever before. Give it a red hot go. And even though there will be times where there will be setbacks, this movement is unstoppable. We've seen at this election just how many forces they've had to corral together to try and stop us. Well, they can't do that forever. I want to thank the former leaders of the Greens for their continued guidance and advice, and in particular Bob Brown, who's been an inspiration to me. I feel incredibly lucky to have been able to share a period of time in Parliament with Bob, and his guidance and his wisdom has been absolutely invaluable. I want to thank my mum and my dad, who've spent fair bit of time over here, more than could be asked of anyone else, helping look after our family and allowing me to continue to do this incredible job that I've had the privilege of doing. Your support has meant a huge amount. I want to thank all of those people in our local community based around our school and our friends who've sent the texts offering to pick the kids up from Scouts or offering to pick the kids up from gymnastics when there's been a 7:30 interview, or to step in and assist Claudia, who has had to do so much. You know who you are, and your support has meant a huge amount. I want to thank my kids our kids have been born while I've been in Parliament and haven't known any other life that's different, but they've been an incredible source of love and inspiration, and I don't think any 8-year-old should have to be asking every night how the 2CP count is going. But that's the life that they've been born into, and I know that this has taken a toll on them, and they've been incredible supporters. But they've been an incredible part of this movement, and I really want to acknowledge them. Claudia, I'm lucky enough to be married to one of the most brilliant political minds that I know, and someone who has an amazing history of activism and insight and love and warmth and compassion. And not only could I have not done this without her, we've done it together. And the amazing effort that you've put in, the toll that it's taken and the work that you've done has helped change the country. So I'm going to find other times and other ways to hopefully start to acknowledge that. But I think I wish you could all know just how much you mean to me. Thank you for everything that you've done. I want to thank all my incredible staff. I've been so lucky to work with so many people who have done so much, and I wouldn't be here without them. They put up with a lot. I think every time you see a red toothbrush pop up on television, if you knew the backstory to how that got there, you would that's just one instance of the amazing work that all my staff have done over so many years, and I just feel so lucky and incredibly blessed. And I want to single one of them out in particular, Damien Lawson, who's been my Chief of Staff and who's been with me on this incredible journey from the beginning. Probably the other sharpest political mind that I know in the country, next to my wife, and the work that you have done. You've helped build a movement, my friend, and words can't begin to express how much I and everyone else is indebted to you. Before I finish up, I want to give a little bit of free advice to the media, if I can. I can see the grimaces here, but we're in a climate crisis. I really want the media to stop reporting on climate as a political issue and start thinking about it as if our country was being invaded. You should treat the climate crisis as if there is a war on. One of the refrains I've heard was, oh, well, we don't hear people talk about climate as much anymore. During the course of this parliament, for a large part of it, climate pollution was actually higher under this government than it was under Scott Morrison. We were knocking on your doors, trying to get you to write stories about it. We were asking questions about it in Parliament. We were holding press conferences about it. And we really struggled to get anyone to take that seriously. And when we would get up and say, we've got to stop opening coal and gas mines, there was this kind of shrug of, well, we'd expect the Greens to say that because that's your point of differentiation. It's like, I would just ask the media, now, every time you get a press release talking about a renewable energy project, or every time you get told that the climate crisis is being taken seriously, please don't just treat this as we're going to report what the different political parties say. Look behind it and look at the science because your kids, our kids, everyone's kids are in for a hellish future in their lifetimes if we don't get the climate crisis under control. You know, we've been nudging 20 degrees overnight in Melbourne in May. We're hitting 1.5 degrees now of warming. We are seeing this unfold. Now, the government's been lucky to have a climate denialist, Peter Dutton, for many years as their foil because it made them look good, right? It made them look good. But in this, as the political debate became about renewables versus nuclear, we tried really hard to get people to pay attention to coal and gas and the over 30 new coal and gas projects that have been adopted, but it was treated as a political point. Please, please start taking the climate crisis seriously and holding this government and any future government to account. Act as if our country is being invaded when you consider what our governments are doing in response to the climate crisis, and don't let them get away with simply a press release. And this is only going to become more pressing. The reason I got into politics was after being at Damien Lawson's, I think it might have been your sister's place, reading a paper about the science of climate change and thinking, oh, well, this is really serious and surely our governments have got this under control. Realising that pollution is not coming down in the way that it needs to is why I quit my job and started running in politics in the first place. The climate crisis is only going to get worse unless we tackle it. And this movement of ours that I'm so incredibly proud to have been a part of is only going to get bigger and bigger and bigger as we make sure that everyone in this beautiful country and this beautiful planet of ours has a safe place to live and everything they need to live a good life. Thanks very much, everyone.